Hey, and welcome back to the Rick and Dafs Podcast. I'm Dafs.
And I'm Rick.
And as always, we are here unscripted and raw.
What's in store? It's Season 4.
In Season 4, that's correct.
That's right. But first, we should probably introduce Stacy.
Yep.
Hello.
Greetings. Stacy's here with us today.
Salutations.
And there's a reason for that. Because Dafs is once again traveling back in time to fight people. Mm-hmm. This time, unlike previously when you fought American presidents, now you are going back in time for some reason to fight English kings. So I needed somebody to help me judge you. So I brought in a biased judge.
Who has much experience judging me.
Unsure which way she's biased, but she clearly is biased. To help me judge you.
Of course.
It's every spouse's dream. Mm-hmm. To get to judge their spouse in public.
Against English kings, specifically.
That's Stacy's fantasy. So Dafs will be going back in time this week to fight Edward I, Henry VIII, and Edgar the Peaceable. Mm-hmm. Good luck to you, Dafs.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous.
We're actually going to be judging you on many different ways. But we'll get into that in just a minute.
It's nice to leave the rules confusing until the very last minute.
Yes, right. It's a very complicated scale that I slaved over this afternoon. At any rate, we're just going to kick it off with the news and then go straight into the fun, right?
Sounds good to me.
All right, hold on. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Cue the music.
Female JetBlue passenger grounded flight after throwing food, touching man flirtatiously, and court documents the rest. Apparently, a female passenger was intoxicated and began to act like a caged animal.
Quote unquote caged animal.
Quote unquote caged animal.
In the documents.
Literally. She drank multiple glasses of wine within about an hour and a half. The number went up to 4. Then began to inappropriately touch a male passenger who was none too pleased with the whole situation.
Very uncomfortable.
When trying to give her food and water to sober her up, she, quote, threw the food and yelled at them. They then placed her in plastic handcuffs, which she quickly escaped, calling the flight attendants and crew assholes, and attempted to kick them.
Apparently, in the crotch.
Yeah. So they had to land the plane early, and they kicked her off. She was immediately taken into custody, and then I guess all they gave to the other passengers that have now been sorely inconvenienced was flight vouchers for $150.
So one thing I'd like to point out is that this Season 4 is quickly becoming the season of airline stories.
It absolutely
3 in
is.
a row, which makes me feel like our next episode needs to be the Anything Goes Airlines episode.
It needs to be. It definitely does. So, yes, the flight overall, the airline is suing for $36,100, which is mostly just to pay for the vouchers they gave to their 144 other passengers. Although her sentence could come with a 20-year imprisonment, which of course never is going to happen.
20 years?
20 years.
I definitely think she should be banned from future flights, though.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like there should be a chant going, ban, 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 ban.
Or, alternatively, you just pay me a voucher preemptively, and then I'll ride with whoever you want. But it has to be more than $150. It's got to be that max contribution, $400.
Well, see, I do feel kind of bad for the airline because they had to pay this money, on top. They lose all this money, plus they're in the news, plus this woman gets to fly again. That doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, that's why I keep saying there needs to be a non-federal no-fly list.
Just for being a jerk.
Just if you're a jerk, you don't get to fly.
You're
except
banned.
for Anything Goes Goose Airlines.
Meanwhile,
Goose?
this woman's bridge club is
Goose
Sandra.
Yeah, the Goose Caboose Airlines. That's what you're calling it.
Sure. The Spruce Loose Goose
Spruce Loose Goose Airlines.
We'll have to also invent a liquor that goes along with it that you get a bottle of when you go on.
Man, if only there were goose-themed liquors.
Yellow goose? No, that doesn't sound right.
Nothing comes to mind.
Okay.
Gin? It might be gin.
Anyways, I'm on board with your plan. Just ban them. You're banned from flying.
Or they can ride, but they have to ride outside, hanging onto the wing.
Mm-hmm.
You get to ride for as long as you can hang on.
Wow, that's very punitive.
There'll be a section in the back for people who are on parole from the banned fly list, and we're just gonna strap you to a dolly, Hannibal Lecter style,
Yeah,
with a
totally.
mask and
Yes.
straitjacket, and we'll wheel you around. And if you do, a few flights like that, then you're allowed to come back and sit in a regular seat like an adult.
And we'll test you by putting a bottle of Merlot within eyesight, but you can't reach it.
If you reach for it, then you go back to square one. You're like 2 flights away from getting off parole or probation.
Sandra, stop reaching for the Chardonnay.
The trains won't even take you now. That's how low you've
You're
fallen.
Greyhound all the way. You're Greyhound to Pittsburgh. Is there anything sadder than that? I can't think of a sadder destination than a Greyhound to Pittsburgh.
I don't think that there is.
Maybe the Badlands.
Is
I don't know.
much further to fall than taking a Greyhound to Pittsburgh. I mean, honestly, if you're on a Greyhound bus, your day is already going pretty terrible. Those things smell awful.
Yep.
You're cramped in there. No one has showered for 2 or 3 days.
Well, to be fair, that's basically what anything goes Grey Loose Goose Airlines is going to be.
Right.
It'll be the Greyhound of the skies.
That'll
be our motto.
We'll be the super cheap option, and we'll have daily flights from Chicago to New York. But the other way, the long way around, it's gonna be a 29-hour flight.
1 out of every 30 flights will just go backwards. You never know which one it's going to be.
You spin the roulette wheel.
Oh yeah, the roulette reel's coming back. I can't wait for that episode. So that is the news, and a fun news story it was. But now for the real crux of what we're here to do, which is to judge Dafs, and for Dafs to show off his improvisational skills, which I have been privy to for quite some time in school. He is a very earnest liar.
I still don't know what a nurse does.
Well, I still remember the time that he fooled me with this 20-minute story about the word husband and how its origins were ancient Gaelic and how it came from the naval crews that would sail the open sea, and every time the husband would last through a storm, they would cry, husband. And I was like, this, what? This, no.
It was huzzah, huzzah.
Or whatever. And I was like...
Also, my lies are so good, I remember specifically it was not Gaelic shipyards. It was in the Netherlands.
Well, either way, it was fake.
Yeah, none of it was real.
None of it
Is
was
this
real.
a good segue into me saying that I just randomly will send Stacy sea shanties?
Yes.
And then I'm listening to them at work.
Thinking
as
about the
I'm
husband.
just feeling bitter that it's not real. Because I thought it was actually real for a while.
That's sad.
I know.
That's okay. My dad did similar things to my mother when they first met, and told her that it would get so cold in Idaho that they would start fires in their toilets when they would freeze over. And she believed that. So don't feel too bad. You're in good company.
I can't remember who it was. Someone
Terrible.
Terribly
was
funny.
telling me that it was like on their vacation to like Toledo, some random place. It was to see family. They got off the plane, and the first thing that happens was their mom slaps their dad and starts yelling at him because he had convinced her that Toledo didn't have sidewalks. And for like 20 years, she believed him. And they finally went, and she was like, "You bastard."
That's amazing. Okay.
Okay, but these are all like really... I don't feel like mine was that bad.
But can you imagine
20
believing
years.
for 20 years that Toledo just never invested in
Sidewalks
sidewalk
ever.
infrastructure?
It's not something they believed in. That's the way we likes it. Okay, so, Dafs, you've got to fight kings in this episode. Specifically English kings. I have invented a scale for this, because this is the season of scales. This is called the Scale of Kings. Why are you laughing at us?
Because it's so like
Spent most of the afternoon on the name. Last 20 minutes was
Okay,
naming
I'll be
scale.
honest with you. I just added the of part just literally 5 seconds ago. Okay,
scale kings.
that's what it was originally called. Now it's the Scale of Kings, which I think is quite catchy. It's easy to remember. So there will be two different. So what Dafs, your goal is to overthrow these kings, either by murdering them or discrediting them, which is the goal of most nobles frequently in medieval and ancient times. So we do have separate scales. One is if you manage to kill the king, there will be a dead scale. And an alive scale if you fail in your endeavor. But you can still, there's still, varying degrees of success that you can get. Stacy and I will be judging you on creativity, the sneakiness of your plan, like how sneaky you are, the execution. That doesn't necessarily mean whether you executed people, but how good your plan turned out. We are judging you. And then you can get up to 2 style points, which can be given arbitrarily at our whims.
They can be given or taken away.
Yeah, we may take away points just for spite, malice.
Yeah, if it's not very original.
But
kill,
if you will
then-
notice, this gives you a possibility because each of the first 3, creativity, sneakiness, and execution, are graded 0 to 3. So there's a possibility you can score an 11, which we will be calling the Spinal Tap score. If you score a Spinal Tap, wow, hats off to you.
I'm going to say I feel pretty confident.
You feel pretty good.
You know how confident I feel?
How confident?
Super confident. You want to know why?
Why?
All these guys are already dead. Boom.
So I will.
That's a point right there.
So Dafs did ask me a few questions
Mission success.
about your mission. So your mission is you are traveling back in time. You have all of your current knowledge. You cannot bring anything back with you. But I am giving you unlimited funding and unlimited time. However, you will score poorly if you just simply wait for them to die and then try and seize power.
I just want to note real fast. You've sent me back in time to be a rich immortal.
Not immortal, just until they die.
You said unlimited funding and unlimited time.
Unlimited time until they die, in which case I score you very poorly because you did nothing.
Oh.
And which point, this is a good segue though into our scale. If for some reason you travel back in time and just live there for however long that king is alive without doing anything, that you would score on the alive scale. Now, a score of 1 to 2 on the alive scale is reputation enhanced. You've enhanced their reputation by your poor showing.
You waited for dysentery to do something,
Yeah.
and it did nothing.
3 out of 4, that's minor irritant. You were kind of a thorn in their side, but it didn't really impact them. 5 to 6, that's a solid scandal. There was some scandalous goings on. 7 to 8, you've done lasting damage to the reputation, which I think is a pretty good score. If you score a lasting damage and you don't manage to kill them, I'll still be impressed.
Yeah.
9 to 10, likely to be overthrown. You've damaged their reputation so much that I think their rule won't last. Let's say that you don't just sit around. You actually try and you manage to kill one of these people. 1, I think I'll probably give you some style points. But 2, the scoring for this is 1 to 2, you did a really bad job, but you did kill them. They've been martyred. They will go down as a saint. 3 to 4, no change in their status, their legacy. 5 to 6, they become a laughingstock. 7 to 8, they are considered a bad king. And 9 to 10, you vilified.
So I just want to point out, I actually can get more points by leaving them alive and tarnishing their reputation than I can by killing them poorly.
Well, there's a possibility for that. But that's where the style points come in. Because we can arbitrarily give you or take away your points. I don't know. Stacy and I will have to decide on the fly how many points we can take away. I think the maximum would be 2, but I'm leaning towards maybe 1. But these style points really come into play, so you got to be creative.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do a "Are you not entertained?" for us. And if
Think of us as like the Heidi Klum of English King deaths.
Yes. Or what's the other show? It's not Project Runway, but the other one. Tyra Banks.
Oh,
yeah.
America's Next Top Model.
We're Tyra Banks and Heidi Klum. Or, as we all know, Gordon Ramsay, who Dafs loves.
Can't stand.
Who knows? He may return in a wild card round of Worst Bosses, which I might add we are working on the next level. So, Dafs, who would you like to start with? Here are your options. You can fight Edward the First, Henry VIII, or Edgar the Peaceable first.
Let's go with Edgar the Peaceable.
Good choice, especially because he happens to be on my list, listed first for notes that I did.
Nice.
Okay, some fast facts about Edward the Peaceable I will give all you people out there, in case you haven't had a chance to Google him yet. He was king of England from 959 to 975, 26 years. Died at only 32 years of age, which, Dafs, you only have like an extra year and a half to live if that's the level we're going for.
Gonna say you're welcome.
So just some highlights from him. At one point, he challenged another king to a battle to the death alone in the forest when one of the kings suggested he might be too short to be king. I must also note that this king was Kenneth of Scotland. Very kingly name, as Stacy pointed out.
What's your name, Your Majesty?
Kenneth of Scotland. Ancient king or your neighbor?
Prince Chad.
Prince Chad. Prince Carl. Okay. Demanded to be allowed to sleep with a nobleman's daughter. Mm-hmm. The nobleman, understandably, did not want that to happen. So, he snuck in the maid instead. It turns out the king rather liked the maid. But when he found out that it was the maid, he got upset and took all the nobleman's lands and gave it to the maid. So they were stripped of their lands. He pursued a nun who ran away and away from his pursuits. Did impregnate another nun, so he wasn't quite done with that particular nunnery. Wanted to marry her, but again, she ran away. This is my favorite one. Took a faithful servant of his, Ethelwald, which is a great name, nobleman in his court, who he had sent to go look at, decide whether this woman was attractive enough for him to marry. And that nobleman ended up marrying this woman instead of reporting back. When the king found out that, he took him for a little walk in the woods, came back alone. Sadly, Ethelwald had shot himself in the back with an arrow in a hunting accident.
It's totally plausible.
Fatal wounding.
He was shooting at a pheasant directly above, and then had to tie a shoe.
Yeah, right. Then he married that dead man's wife.
Oh, well then...
some positives in his behalf. Surprisingly, known for cleaning up crime. By giving extremely harsh penalties to even minor crimes. Hunted all the wolves to near extinction.
Oh my gosh.
And made all the coinage the same, which actually is kind of valuable.
Yeah.
To make all the coinage even. And better
You
regulated.
committed murder, but at least we have the same coins.
In fairness to him, it was over 1,000 years ago. So kings could get away with a lot more back then than they could now. Okay, so now we know a little bit about Kenneth McAlpin. Dafs, your strategy.
I am going to call him Lord Farquaad and imply that he is much too short to be king.
Well, then he'll take you into the forest and kill you.
I am totally fine with him trying.
So what's your... Okay, walk us through your strategy here.
Well, so he wants to go out into the middle...
And before we get too far into this, Stacy, feel free to ask him any questions and really, really deep dive onto his
I'm
strategies.
curious. Can you go into a little more detail about how you call him too short? Do you just go up and call him What's up, Shorty McShort Short?
in the court, what do?
No, I team up.
Send him a letter?
No, I team up with another royalty.
Okay.
Perhaps this Kenneth of Scotland. My kind of guy.
So I will tell you, Kenneth MacAlpin quickly caved when he was challenged. Immediately gave up.
Well, that is why I would team up with him. We'd send the letter saying he's too short. When he challenges us, he'd say, okay, well, it's a standard duel then, right? You know, we go out there with no weapons or whatever. Fine. I'll act as your second. And then when it's time to fight, Kenneth can bail if he wants to. I'm going hand to hand against Shorty McShortpants here.
I don't think he would do that because the tradition is swords back then. I don't think it's hand to hand.
I would, but that's close enough.
So you're just gonna rely on your own wits.
Yeah.
Is there anything more to this plan?
He's okay.
So far, you're not doing so well.
He's really short. I have massive reach on him.
Yeah, but he's got a sword.
Yeah, but I'd have a sword too.
Yeah, but you're not a swordsman.
No.
You're just assuming that you as an amateur swordsman could defeat a king.
Who does this every day?
He does not do it every day.
Okay, but he did.
There's no way.
He does it probably more than you.
Well, sure.
Yeah. Also, he was gutsy enough to be like, "Hey, King of Scotland, you and me are alone in the woods. You can either fight me. You can fight me to the death if you want or not." So he must have some skill, like some confidence in his own ability to fight with a sword.
Or he's just got a lot of bravado.
Well, clearly, both of you have a lot of bravado.
I'm gonna say, my money's not on either one of you right now.
All I'm saying is when he actually had a chance to go out into the woods one-on-one with somebody, he ended up having to shoot them in the back with an arrow, which shows that he's not wanting to get close, and he's going to be cowardly and take the first thing, which I totally understand.
But we don't know what really happened to the woods. Maybe he was like gonna fight him, and then that guy like started running away, and so he's like, "Well, job is done," and he shot him in the back.
I still think that's my best chance.
So this is your final answer.
With the limited information that I have about this guy, yeah.
You send him a threatening letter with your buddy. Mm-hmm. You have remember here
with
that
your buddy Kenneth.
You have unlimited funding. So with all this money, you're doing nothing with it besides like sending threatening on nice stationery. Is what's happening.
And calling somebody short.
Then I fund.
Where's the smallpox blankets? Where's the like harpooning somebody in the river like you did
smallpox
in Theodore Roosevelt's time?
And we haven't even hit the Black Death yet.
No, he's right about that, people. We have not hit the Black Death.
Believe me, once we get past that, I'm bringing it with.
Unfortunately for you, the only person who you can fight who has been through the Black Death, I believe, is Henry VIII. Mm-hmm. I think it's Edward III's time that we hit the Black Death.
Yeah.
So
I'm going
to
use
your final answer.
My money to get close to Kenneth of Scotland, or Kenneth of Scots. We're going to do a smear campaign. I'm going to hire maybe a few assassins with this unlimited amount of money that I just seem to have on hand. And then we're going to wait until he goes out into the woods with me alone. And then it's stabby fun time. Or, crossbow to the back.
Well, but he's challenging
also,
you.
I've invented how to make crossbows.
So now you're
blow their mind.
Wait,
but you only have your current knowledge. Do you know how to make a crossbow right now?
Yes, I do.
How do you make
I can make one out of PVC pipe. I've watched YouTube videos on it.
But you don't have PVC pipe.
No, I'll have wood and Craftsman.
That's true. A lot of his guys are going to get killed by faulty arrows.
But they're just going off in all directions.
Are you saying that you're adding in some assassins now?
Sure.
Okay. Well, see, at least you're using your money.
You gave me tons of money.
I know.
And if I can't, with all my unlimited money, get Kenneth of Scots to come to my side, well, then guess what? I'm going to show him how to build trebuchets. And we'll just lay siege.
Do you know how to build trebuchets?
Yes, I know a basic idea of building a trebuchet. It's essentially a long-armed lever with a single weight on one point and a hook that's open.
So, I do know a little bit about Kenneth MacAlpin. That is his last name. At any rate, I do not think you could get him on your side. I think that you would be better off just being a noble person, because clearly you are, because you're so rich, that you would just send it yourself. Because I think Kenneth MacAlpin was so terrified of this crazy guy that he might have turned you in or had you arrested. I think he might turn on you.
Okay.
To be fair.
Plan B. I kill Kenneth McAlpin.
How?
I usurp through a series of trebuchets, crossbows, and assassins.
So wait. Your plan is evolving out of control.
And then
Tell
I
me-
use the
Why does it take an
entire
entire
army
trebuchet to
of
kill
the
one
Scots.
king?
Okay, hold on. Let's go back. So your plan is you're going to send a threatening message to
Either king.
either king.
Whoever writes back
Wait.
first.
Okay. So you're sending a threatening message to either king,
Possibly written as the other
and
king.
then doing what?
I just imagine it's signed the other king because you can't remember which one you
Signed
sent it
Edgar.
to.
I'm gonna
my handwriting?
send one to.
Now we're getting into some interesting territory.
So you've asked me to just improvise this. So this is off the cuff. So in this case, yeah, I'm gonna send a letter to both kings, insulting them from each other.
Okay, I like it.
I'm going to wait
Now I'm way
until
more on
they
board.
until they write back. I'm going to change what they said and say, "Yeah, I'll see you in the woods alone. Bring it, shorty." And he'll say, "Look, Kenny, G, bring it." When both of them then are in the woods, ready to kill each other, if Kenneth can't pull it out of the bag and doesn't kill Edgar, well, then I'm going to kill both of them with my giant, huge trebuchet that I've been building in the woods
imagine you,
with
like-
all my assassins.
Okay. This plan I give a much higher chance of success. So just to recap, you're sending threatening messages from either king to either king.
Yes.
Then you are using your money and influence to intercept said letters,
Yes.
change them. You're also going to have to forge some royal seal or something, because there's definitely going to be a royal seal.
And you're gonna have to get some craftsmen to build
Yeah.
a trebuchet for you.
Then,
I have unlimited time and money.
then
Totally
you
doable.
are
I played
basi-
Sims one time. It's great.
basically you are making a scenario where they challenge each other to a fight in the wood, and then you are there sneaking and murdering both.
Yep, with my
Okay.
trebuchets, crossbows,
It's a bold
and
plan.
assassins.
Bold plan. Okay, so first creativity. Now we will judge you. 0 to 3. What are you thinking? I think this is a fairly creative plan.
I agree.
Um,
I wouldn't say it's the most creative plan. I'd give it a 2.
2 or 2.5? I think 2 is a fair number.
Yeah.
So we are going to give you a 2 for creativity.
Daphs looks indignant.
You're gonna see a common theme coming up real soon in these next ones.
Daphs is very, very tricksy. That's a Golem reference for you out there. So he gets a 2 for creativity. Sneakiness, that's a moderately sneaky plan.
Moderately sneaky plan. Is it 1 to 3?
It's a 1, yeah, or we can give him 0. I think
I would say 1.75, only because
only go by 0.5s. You're going to confuse me if you do that, because
Alright,
I got to do
fine.
math.
I would say 1.5.
1.5.
Only
Why?
because-
Can I hear your reasoning? Because
Yeah.
I was set to agree on a 2.
I think because death by trebuchet just doesn't feel very sneaky to me. If you were like cloak and dagger, I'd be like, absolutely. But a trebuchet is flinging a giant rock at someone.
That's fair.
Or my crossbow-laden thieves and assassins. They're usually the same. You just gotta pay them more.
I think that you're right. That he has he has brought in a method of overkill with the trebuchet
Yeah.
that deserves punishment. So 1.5, we agree for sneakiness. Okay.
Sorry, Daphs.
You know what? I think that he might be the hardest one. So just to be fair,
Our
let's
other
see.
kings are more well known.
The last one is of the like actual grading scale is execution. How well will your plan work out? I think there's a lot of moving parts, to be honest with you.
There are.
I think it's doable.
But this one dude, Edgar, is super gung-ho to go out in the woods for seemingly any reason. So I think I can definitely get him there.
Yeah, he does seem to like to go out into the woods alone with people.
Just a real outdoorsy kind of guy.
And even if I can't get Kenneth to come out of his wall and actually go into the woods, I don't need him to. I just need his letter to say he'll be there.
That's a fair point. Do you think that Davs could successfully, with all his men and stuff, pull off the the switcheroo with the letters and the seals.
I think so. And I think
I think
also
it's an underhanded tactic they may not have seen.
Yeah. And I think he could probably also kill Edgar, although he kind of went the nuclear option with the trebuchet.
See, that's where we differ. I think they could pull off the switcheroo. I think there would be a lot of technical problems with the machinery that you would make.
It might end up me just stabbing
Also,
Edgar
a
a
trebuchet
bunch of
is a
times.
highly inaccurate, even
next
at
to
the
a
best of
trebuchet.
times, item.
It's from like a mile away.
There's a lot of coordination you're having to
It
pull
lands
off.
100 feet off.
Your men hiding out in the woods, like, may be discovered. The trebuchet's definitely gonna miss.
That's true, actually. I didn't think about that because trebuchets are typically designed for castle walls and not single humans.
I give Kenneth no way that he shows up.
No.
Do you just hiding out in the woods kill him? That's what I'm wondering.
If you had a crossbow,
Do you think he brings? Yeah. Do you think he brings guys with him? Like
Even if
Edgar?
he does, even if he's underhanded and says, let's go alone, but then shows up with 3 knights, crossbows are important because they pierce armor, whereas the longbow at the time did not.
I just don't think that your crossbows would work very well.
I think they'd work great.
I watched a YouTube video about it.
I think they'd work great.
I think you'd kill him, but I think it'd be pretty ugly. I'm gonna give you.
I just imagine him like full of crossbow arrows. It looks like a porcupine by the end. And Dafs is like in a tree screaming.
I think
like,
it's pretty.
Die!
I think it's successful. I think you probably did kill him, but I don't know if I want to give. What are you thinking? Where are you thinking, Stacy, scoring?
I think he does, but I think it takes a few tries. Like, he throws a trebuchet, he misses all of the trebuchets.
The trebuchet is not going to work. I don't agree.
And then he's like, okay, I'm going to do this crossbow. The first one falls apart, but he has a backup crossbow. And then he just pumps him full of
Where are you
arrows.
while this is going on? That's my question.
I'm standing.
Are you there? Are you away?
I'm standing next to the trebuchet.
Well, you're like a mile away?
No. That's like 100 yards.
So you're there.
Yeah.
Okay, but the crossbow is not accurate after...
No. I'm definitely going to walk up to them after they've been fighting and then kill whoever's left.
Then I'm settling on a 1.5. I think that you'd have to be far away because I think that you need to find a way to like have your hands washed if it doesn't work out.
Worst comes to worst is they go, what the heck is that? And I go, guys, come on over. I'm going to show you the interesting thing of the 1100s trebuchet. And then while they're looking up at it, I just stab them both in the back.
Well, why don't you just invite him out to do that in the first place and then kill him?
Dispense
Because
with the trebuchet.
You got to have like 9 plans in case the first 8 don't work.
Okay, so what
I
score
feel
are we
like
thinking?
you're on like plan E right now.
It's okay. I appreciate his like tenacity. All right, Stacy, what number are you thinking in your head of 0 to 3? You
gonna
can't
go
be a
with-
0.
No. I'm going to go with a 1.5 again.
For level of execution?
Yeah,
Because it's going to take you a few tries.
I think there are a lot of moving parts. So I'm agreeing with you on a 1.5. But, actually you're doing so... But the important thing is, did he kill him? What is your
I
thought?
think so.
So he does kill him.
Will.
And
But it was messy.
Can I just say this? If I do get him out into the woods, what are the chances you think I kill him? Pretty good, right?
If you get him to come alone.
Yeah.
But I do think you probably could because we already know of at least 2 recorded incidents in the little we know about this king where he invites people into the woods alone.
Absolutely. So let's say...
That seems to be his go-to. Like, you beat me at checkers, let's go for a walk in the woods.
So let's say my trebuchet switcheroo with the conversations, letters, doesn't work out. Well, then he doesn't show up to the woods, and I get to try another plan later on. I think execution's a little higher. I think
I really am glad that you didn't say you were there because then I was going to say there's a high degree of chance that you get murdered.
Mm-hmm. Unless you're up in
by
a tree.
Like crossfire or something.
Yeah, no. I'm not going to be within shooting distance for the first starts.
Has he changed your mind on the scoring?
No.
Me either. But you did kill him.
Yeah.
Which gives you a 5 so far, which you have made... you have made Edgar the Peaceable a laughing stock in killing him. Now we need to decide whether he gets a style points or not. How many style points are you willing to award?
I have a high bar for style points. So I'm gonna withhold my style points.
Okay, so we each get one?
I think we
that's
said
it.
one.
I'm going to give you mine. Because I do think there was a level of style there that I really did appreciate. It doesn't change your overall score from laughingstock, but it did pump you up to a 6.
My only concern is that he'll die and go down in England's history as the hero who invented the trebuchet.
Well, if you
and then used it on himself.
But if you take over, then you could slander him.
Then it's all gravy.
So you have, which I think that this grading scale is already working out very well, because I think if a king was killed by a trebuchet in the woods by himself, that king would be a laughing stock.
Yeah. I like your scale. So far, it's very accurate.
So it's working out. So Dafs, solid coming out of the gate, I will say. You have killed Edgar the Peaceable, and made him a laughing stock. Congratulations.
Good job.
The husband.
Oh my god.
Next up, who would you like to fight? Edward the First or Henry VIII?
Let's go Henry VIII, because I have a really good plan for Edward the First.
Okay. Stacy, would you like to do the honors?
Sure.
Henry VIII.
Alrighty.
Fast facts on him.
Henry VIII ruled for 55 years from 1509. No, sorry, he died at 55 years old. He ruled for 38 years from 1509 to 1547. He was 6'2".
Tall guy.
Yeah, especially for that time period.
Yeah.
He was known to be very attractive, although later in life he became extremely fat and ugly. However, he was very charming and was quite a ladies' man. He had 6 wives and many mistresses. He killed 2 of his wives, annulled 3 of his marriages. He fathered 3 rulers of England, Edward V, Mary I, and Elizabeth I. He broke from the Roman Catholic Church so that he could divorce his first wife.
A little bit of selfish motivation there.
Yeah.
Not very altruistic.
He also had a reputation. He killed the most nobles ever in the single reign of a king.
Yep.
He's famous for also the act of succession. He made people agree that his first wife, Catherine of Aragon, and his daughter Mary were illegitimate before they could be in his court. And
Yeah.
so,
anybody who disagreed, murdered.
Yeah, just murdered.
Including an 86-year-old nun.
Yeah. I was like, Nana's not hurting you.
He's not sleeping with the nuns, but he is killing them.
Oh, man. The nuns got the short straw of England in that time period, that's for sure. He was known for being very resilient. He had many bouts of malaria. He got hurt jousting. He had chronic gas because he didn't believe that vegetables were good for him, so he never ate them.
Very constipated.
Just a real stopped up kind of guy. He died in debt despite having the heaviest taxation ever. He didn't really rule, but he managed to stay extremely popular. He sort of pulled the Bill Clinton where when something bad would happen, someone else would take the blame, but when something good happened, he took credit for it. So
smooth operator politically.
He was very not quite sure how he pulled it off, but he did, which is definitely noteworthy. And then, of course, the jeweled codpiece, which is what he's famous for.
Especially on the Rick and Dafs podcast. That's what he's best known for.
It's underlined in Rick's notes.
Yes. I underlined that to make sure it was for emphasis. Okay, Dafs, your plan to kill Henry VIII.
A poisoned codpiece.
If that's your plan, I mean, creativity-wise, that's off the scales.
I'm giving you my style point right there.
I have several plans for
several plans.
I think all of them would work pretty well. So plan number 1 is that
Can you say plan the first?
Plan the first.
Thank you. On the scale of kings.
I join the Roman Catholic Church.
Okay.
What?
All right. I like where this is going.
I work my way up to become a trusted advisor in the church.
Especially with how much money you have. They're going to like that.
I'd have a lot of money.
You're donating lots of...
donate it. I'd become...
Lots of archdioceses.
Very saintly acting.
So you're a cardinal
in the
or a
right way.
bishop or an archbishop.
I mean,
or...
maybe not that high.
You
but,
bought your
know,
way into the upper echelons.
Yeah, I'm a little high. And then I'm just going to say, I just don't know about this guy. I feel like he looks like someone who would try to break from the church and have 6 wives. you know how some people just have that face? And I start dropping hints of kind of that I think this guy's up to no good well before he's up to no good. So that
could
way...
get you killed, though.
I'm going to codpiece block you right here. Mm-hmm. Because he was actually named Defender of the Faith by the Pope in his early years. Mm-hmm. Because when Lutheranism was first starting, he wrote a treatise on the matter and, sent it out around.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not going early Henry VIII. I'm going
Heavy
mid Henry VIII.
So when things with Catherine of Aragon are not going
when the
so
things
hot.
are starting to kind of break at the seams, I'm there about 6 months early and going, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is the right guy we need for our church right now.
Sure.
And then...
So you're going to inception them.
Oh, yeah.
And then what?
I'm turning the heat up a little bit so that by the time he does decide he's going to break with the Catholic Church.
You've been the one saying the whole time.
I've been the one saying, this guy's up to no good. We gotta do something. If we'll let this go, what else are we gonna let go? Now, as everyone knows, the Catholic Church has immense amount of not only power but funding. A lot of the banks would also be using the Catholic Church as well.
Sure.
So if you can defund the entire, crown that he has, I think that amongst the scandal, which he's already bringing into himself, is going to be enough to bring it about an early end.
Although I will say that one of the ways that Henry VIII gained money for the treasury was by robbing the monasteries and seizing their lands.
Yeah. Kind of pulled an early French Revolution move by taking all their lands.
If you piss him off, he'll just take your churches.
Yeah.
Well, and that just proves my point that he's not a great ruler.
So what's your backup plan? When you have starved his money or you've tried to affect his money. Mm-hmm. Then next, what's your next move?
Second one is I give him
that's step one?
Yes, that's step one.
Okay, step two.
Step two.
Step the second. I
give him a absolutely just strikingly beautiful goblet. Because he clearly loves ordinate things.
Yes.
He doesn't drink in public or have large feasts typically. He tends to be very cleanly. He washes his hands before meals, during meals, after meals. He
was a hypochondriac.
He dines privately. But here's something that they don't know a whole lot at that time. They knew before this time, and it was forgotten knowledge, is that lead is super bad for you. So I'm going to have a lead-lined goblet.
Okay.
I'm going to give him to that real early.
Okay.
When he's a favorite
young.
of the church.
Okay.
And the church
Before you
thinks
start
that
bad-mouthing
you
him and making
need
him mad.
this. And I'm going to be slowly lead poisoning this guy.
Living in the country while you're bad-mouthing him. If you are, there's a high degree of possibility you are already dead.
Yeah, no. I'm not going to badmouth him until you're already seeing the late effects of lead poisoning.
Okay.
Also, mercury they used to have around in abundance. Didn't realize how poison it was for him. So we're going to go ahead and just have a little bit of mercury thrown in there as well.
Okay, then what's next?
I think that would entirely
that's your
do
plan.
it. I think that would entirely do it. Although, I also have the ability to become a physician with my medical knowledge that I have now, and could be the one treating his horrible wound in jousting, and just allow him to get blood poisoning. And
you could bleed him to help his humors.
And should that fail, ladies and gentlemen, step the fourth is that in his later years, he became so large he would have to be winched to his horse to stay atop it. I kid you not.
That poor horse.
Right.
This was before the ASPCA.
So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we Robert Baratheon him. We give him a little bit too much ale.
And you just send him out on
We send him out and we undo the winch. And the first big fall he takes is going to be all that is needed to off him.
All she wrote.
If one of those four plans simultaneously can't end his life, then nothing will.
Then Dafs gives him a note that says he's short and then challenges him to go to the woods.
All right, Dafs, is that your final answer?
That is my final answer. The one other possibility, although I feel like it's cheating, but no, that's my MO. You've given me too much latitude in the rules.
Well, I always give you too much latitude because that's how we come up with the most interesting things.
Is I build a trebuchet. By now they have them.
Creativity score is going down.
Yeah.
And I throw my unlimited amount of money over the walls of his kingdom.
Oh, okay. So you're...
I slowly deflate the dollar until I totally cripple his entire crown. Everyone has so much money that it's worthless. It means almost nothing. Every time he tries to steal it and take more, I give the peasants even more. No one needs it. Soon there's food shortages. Everyone from other towns are coming to his area because there's tons of money and food. Next thing you know, there's starvation. There's famine.
I mean, that's a very creative idea. I'm not sure if it goes to him dying, but sure.
Also,
It would definitely ruin his precarious position with, Oliver Cromwell and everyone else.
Well, Oliver Cromwell isn't around.
Isn't he the guy?
No,
No.
that's Charles the First.
You're thinking of there is another Cromwell, but I can't remember his first name. But
Yeah.
you're right.
That's the guy.
Thomas Cromwell.
Yeah, there's another Cromwell.
Yeah, I could literally team up with him in about 5 minutes. He already wants to off him.
He was his loyal servant, and then eventually gets killed.
Wasn't he the one who overthrew?
No, you're thinking of Oliver Cromwell.
Still?
Yeah.
Man.
Still the wrong Cromwell.
At first, I was going to give you. Oh, he knew there was a Cromwell, but now I'm thinking that no, you didn't know that.
Listen, years from now, your great descendants will overthrow a totally different throne. Okay. That's why we should be friends now.
God,
Help
he's
me
a
kill
witch.
him.
All right, so first up, creativity.
I'm going to give him a 2 on this one because it is pretty well thought out.
I got 4 separate prongs. I'm a trident plus 1.
That's true. You know, when I was really hoping that you were going to follow Stacy's advice and go with the poisoned codpiece, I was prepared to give you 3 points plus style points.
That one would have given you,
An
pushed you over the edge.
incendiary conpiece.
Yeah.
He's no ability to have any children and ends his line.
Yes. But this was kind of a disappointment for me. But I will say it is creative. You are, you're starting to denounce him early. Mm-hmm. You are then saying, I knew it the whole time.
Mm-hmm. After been poisoning him for years.
After you've been poisoning him with this lead goblet. But the one thing I will say about that is we don't know what other poisons he was already ingesting. Because it was the Middle Ages. Mm-hmm. So I'm not so sure about that one. Then your other plan is to be a physician, although that does directly interfere with you saying before and denouncing him. So I don't think that plan works out.
That's true, and typically people weren't in the church and a doctor at the same time. They were usually either one or the other.
Yeah, you can't denounce and then go and try to be his doctor. And you also can't denounce and then start throwing money over the...
It seems like you're kind of in 4 places at once.
Yeah. So what's it going to be? Are you going to denounce him or not?
I'm going to denounce him and poison him from a distance with the lead goblet.
You know what? I think he deserves a high mark for creativity because these plans are very creative.
Mm-hmm.
It's
they're
either
layered.
a 2.5 or a 3.
I do 2.5.
Yeah. We'll give you 2.5 and give you room to grow.
I feel like 3 is the
That's the
poisoned codpiece.
Golden opportunity that missed.
Lost.
Slipped through your fingers. I'm so disappointed. Alas. Okay, so 2.5 for creativity. Sneakiness. There's a fair amount of sneakiness in this.
Mm-hmm.
However,
He plays the long game for sure.
as I have said earlier, because this is your plan and you are doing a lot of different things, I think there's a schizophrenic element to it that gets you found out. And for sneakiness, I have to deduct some points.
Mm-hmm. I was going to go 1.25.
1.25. Well, we can only go by 0.5s.
Oh, that's right. Crap.
So is it going to
I'm
be
going to go 1.
a 1? Wow, that's really harsh.
I
I was
know.
going to give him a 2. Can we meet in the middle on a
Sure,
1.5?
we can do a 1.5.
Wow, harsh marks. Stacy is a tough grader. Wow,
It's true.
I'm a lot easier on him. I take pity too often.
The jeweled codpiece,
That's true.
I'm
See,
still a little bitter about
she
that.
threw out the jeweled codpiece, and now I can't think of anything else, and it all just
I'm sorry,
it's
honey.
jaded all of us. I was surprised you didn't go the route of like getting one of his mistresses to murder him, like being like, "This is the perfect woman for you," and then she's really just a hired assassin that kills him.
No, because people were so constantly enamored by him and terrified by him. I feel like I'm much more likely to be betrayed
That's true.
than for them to successfully go through it.
That's a fair point. Well thought.
Yeah, he did roll high on the charisma, for sure.
Execution. This is where I'm going to score you very low. I actually don't think that works because I think you're denouncing him and then you're like showing back up in England, and I think that he calls for your arrest and kills you.
Here's the thing with me.
Also, if you just show up as his doctor after denouncing him and you're one of the richest men in the world, he's like, "Hey, what's this guy doing here?"
Here's the thing.
God sees him.
If you could tell me that you could disguise yourself so that he wouldn't recognize you, then I'd be like, okay. But if he recognizes you, the game is up.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
the jig is up.
Here's the thing. I feel like in this time, most people didn't know what most people looked like. We don't have photographs. We have crude paintings. And if I'm some guy at a church 1,000 miles away that he's heard of, and I show up in regular robes, no one knows who I am. No one's even going to recognize me.
That's true.
I feel like
But
this
I
is
think
the
you have-
golden opportunity for crime.
But I think you have to use your, like, well, if you're going around posing as different people, then I give you a higher shot. Mm-hmm. That was a good defense of your execution.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, like, if I'm gonna play the long game, I show up. I go through the Roman Catholic Church. I say, here, you need to bring this goblet to this guy and say it's from us because we like him so much. He's definitely gonna get it because it's incredibly
That
jewel
part I
encrusted.
definitely think will happen.
Yeah.
The part that I'm suspicious
The only
of...
time he actually meets me or sees me face to face is when I'm operating on his leg, just spitting in it and rubbing horse manure in it and all the things that is good for the humors.
That does eventually kill him,
I'm sure it did.
along with his weight, etc. Where you lose me is the throwing money over the walls.
That's
See, I was actually going to give him my style point for that.
Well, that's fine, but that's where I think the execution falls short. That's where I think that he gets found out and killed.
That's probably true.
So I'm gonna give you a 1 point. What do you think? I think either a 1 or 1.5 for execution, because I don't think you kill him.
See, I think he does, but only because of the mercury and lead poisoning. I don't think the trebuchet plan works at all.
But I don't know how much lead he was already ingesting, anyways.
Well, yeah, but if he's doing 3 meals a day out of a goblet, that's lead
Yeah,
line.
but he okay. So this is the guy who went from 8, what was it? 8 castles to 50 castles. Mm-hmm. He's probably got like 50 goblets that look like that.
Yeah, so if you could give him 50 goblets.
I think
it'd have to be a lot of goblets.
I think I'm gonna give him one really, really nice one.
The nicest one in
He'll
the world.
probably be using it for quite a while. Also, this is a guy who gets sick at drop of a hat. You can say he's got hardy constitution because he survived so many illnesses. He also gets every illness. I feel like
Fair point.
having a little bit of lead poisoning is just going to push him over the edge, and one of those malaria is going to do him in.
Okay, so what score are you thinking?
I would give him I'll give him a 1.5. I'll be nice.
I'll come up and meet you at a 1.5, but I'm not happy about it. But I don't think it kills him.
Yeah, actually now that we've talked about it, I don't think it kills him, but I will give him my style point.
You will give him your style point?
I will.
I'm going to withhold mine for this one. See, I was way more interested in the switcheroo move that he was doing. So he does, so he gets 1 extra style point there. So you get, for creativity, you got a 2.5 because there was a lot of plans, a lot of thought put into that. Sneakiness, 1.5. And execution, another 1.5. For a total of 5.5. And he does live. So you have managed to cause him a scandal, major scandal. So you will be noted in the annals of history as the crazy monk who lived his life.
Who threw money over the wall to the peasants.
I think that is a good legacy to leave, my friend.
Yeah.
I might be a saint at that point.
The church would definitely love you.
Mm-hmm.
They would, especially because you call it early.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, he's no good. And then when he turns out to be no good, they're definitely going to be happy with you. So you've probably been sainted, and you have caused a large scandal. In a reign that was already filled with scandal, I think we would hear about the crazy monk who tried to take down Henry VIII. So, I think that's actually a pretty good showing. 5.5 for Dafs. And last but not least, probably the angriest, surprisingly, king that you will be fighting. And Stacy, you did such a good job on the last one. I think that you should read this one.
This is the one I know the least about.
Alrighty. Edward I was king from 1272 to 1307, so 35 years. He fought in the Crusades. He was stabbed by an assassin's poison blade and lived. His nickname was Longshanks because he was very tall. Again, another king over 6 foot. Poor Edgar. He was also called Hammer of the Scots because he battled the Scots twice.
Just for some reason had a visceral hatred of
He
the
hated the
Scots.
Scots. Let's see. He had the... I don't quite understand this note here, Rick. He had the best escape.
Oh, yes. This is my favorite story.
Yeah.
So his father, I can't remember what his name was, Henry the something. He got captured, or they're fighting a civil war against some other dude named Simon de Montfort, who was a noble at the time. And he captures Edward I and is like, you're my prisoner. But because he's a nobleman, he was kept in a very nice place. And they were letting him try out all these horses one day. And so he's trying them out. And on the very last horse, after he's tired out all the other ones, he just rides away. And they couldn't chase him because he had tired out all the other horses. And I guess as he rides away, he's like, so I will send my father your warmest regards or something like that. And then just rides off. I like to imagine them being like, he'll be back. And then like, fast forward to later that night, they're still standing in that field and they're like, I don't think he's coming back.
Yeah, so he was known for a few other things. He conquered Wales. Mm-hmm. He was known for building lots of castles. Many of them are still there today. He stole the Scottish coronation stone.
Stone of Scone.
Yes, and it was not returned until 1996.
And he sat on it. On his throne. It was underneath his throne. Insult to injury.
He just really hated Scots people. He also had a terrible anger problem. Mm-hmm. He chased a friend with a sword for losing his prize falcon. And he was known for instituting lots of new sheriffs, lots of paid troops, and...
very well organized.
Yeah, and he insisted that his son carry his bones into battle against the Scots because he, again...
Just really hates the
really
Scots.
just did not like them.
Is this the bad guy from Braveheart?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, but that movie is not realistic, just so you know.
You know. No.
But yeah, same guy.
But
same
long-lived as well. Over 6 feet tall. Mm-hmm. I think he was 6'3" or 6'4".
Yeah, and he died at 68, which is, again, pretty unusual for that time period. I think he's the longest-lived king of the three. So
yes, he is the longest.
You are not going to be able to just wait him out this time.
And now, Dafs fights on the scale of kings. Okay, Dafs, give us your plan. You claim to have a very good plan for this particular king.
I think I had a effective plan. Not sure you guys are going to love it, but I think it's effective. So he is known for overextending. For a man called Longshanks, he sure tends to overreach. So during one of the battles I read earlier, while preparing for this in 5 minutes, he... left behind the army to go with one of his lieutenants out after the Scots who were retreating. to try to mow them down, with cavalry.
Uh-huh.
When he came back, the entire army had been defeated.
Because this was when he was young?
Yeah, because
he ran off when he was young.
He had the cavalry and removed it from battle.
Yes.
Kind of a dumb plan.
That was when he was fighting with his father when he was young, a young man.
Mm-hmm. But still, fair game. My job is to kill him, not to wait till he's king and then kill him.
Well,
That's
but
true.
the one thing I will say about that is if you kill him before he's king, then you're not going to supplant him as king.
That's true, because you could have just killed Henry VIII when he was a baby.
Yeah.
But wouldn't have counted.
Just go back in time. Just kill him when he's a baby. I mean,
I give him a lead pacifier.
yeah.
There you
So
go.
I think I feel like we need to bar you from killing him then.
This will earn some dividends in 20 years.
Yeah. Because then basically what's happened is you've killed the king's son. The battle's still going on, though.
So is this
Civil
the
War.
same time, though, when he is being taken prisoner?
He does get taken prisoner. Yes.
Before he's king, though.
But before he's king.
See, because
Because he's still Prince Edward.
that's
stuff
the
happens.
perfect time to just kill him. He's in captivity.
Technically, he is laid low by illness when he gets poisoned, and while he hasn't been coronated yet, technically he was king.
Because his father had died, but he hadn't gone back yet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to count that.
No.
You're going to go after him then?
Yeah.
When he's weakened?
Yeah.
What's your plan? Just go find him and kill him?
I'll be the physician who's going to treat him.
Dafs.
Yeah, I have tons of money. I have medical knowledge more than most of them do. And I'm going to go, poison blade, that's my specialty. Who would have sent that guy in the first place? Who knows? And then I'd show up and I'd be like, oh man, yeah, you know what we need to do here? We need to do some water therapy. It's fantastic. So I push you under the water.
That's it.
Oh shoot, it didn't work. All right. Oh no, the prince, would-be king, is now, man, the poison did him, guys. Nothing we could have done.
So you are an English nobleman who has traveled. You've traveled to find him. Mm-hmm. He does get better though.
He wouldn't get better if I treat him.
His only plan is to drown Prince
the king?
Edward. Prince
Oh, wow.
Edward. Dafs, I keep waiting for you to go Rasputin on him, and you're just not doing it.
But it's straightforward and it's effective.
Yeah, but you're going to score low. You have to remember the scale that we have here for you. There's
Dafs.
creativity involved, sneakiness. Sneakiness you'd score well, but in effectiveness you'd score
Think
well.
outside the box, Dafs.
It seems stranger.
Okay, so I get a
that
trebuchet.
It seems
call him
stranger
short.
to me that I would score poorer killing him right away than it would if I were to, say, pretend to be the physician who then goes and saves him from the poison blade, takes him back, has him coronated, becomes his right-hand man, and then waits until later on and then
Here's the
poisons
one
him
thing
with the
that
lead cup.
that we need to say about this, that maybe this will make it easier for you. The point is that you are trying to become king yourself. If the kid's just killed and you're the crappy physician who let him die, then they just move on. And you're far away. You can't become king. If you somehow maneuver your way into becoming king, as you probably do with Edgar the Peaceable,
Then it changes things, and then it's a whole lot easier. So then I become the physician. I save him from the poison blade. I come back with him, become a trusted advisor, mostly through giving him tons of money, also giving him various knowledge of how to build trebuchets and things like that, which would be useful. Also, fundamental things like, gunpowder, which I'm not above giving away those secrets. I do that until, oh my gosh, he has an heir. This is fantastic. He's going to have a son. What wonderful news. Oh, no. But now I have to kill his wife.
You kill a pregnant woman?
No, not when she's pregnant, after the kid's alive. I killed the wife.
okay. How did you kill the
Wow.
wife? Poison? What?
No, I'm gonna say that it was
Poisoned codpiece.
it was late effects of childbirth.
Oh,
Seeing as no one really studied,
Yeah.
women's health until now. I think it's not
a fair point.
Not too difficult to say. No, it's just one of those things, and
you've-
everyone goes, "Oh yeah, one of those things."
So you've killed his wife.
Killed his wife.
Okay.
This is important because then she cannot be the ward of the state. The ones who
Oh, okay.
helps rule it.
Got it. Yep.
So then We mourn her death.
Yep.
You know, build him up a little bit. Wait until the kid knows me pretty well. I'm going to say he's about 6 or so.
Yep.
Right?
You've become another trusted. You're his trusted.
I'm a trusted advisor.
Uncle David.
Uncle Dafs. Yeah.
Okay.
Then I kill Edward the First.
Okay, and how
This
are
whole
you doing
time,
that?
I've
How
been
do you
poisoning
kill
him.
You've been poisoned.
Yes, absolutely. Been poisoning him
Poison.
from day one. Been
How are you
poisoning
poisoning him?
I'm
More
going to go lead. I'm going to go mercury.
So now you're upping the ante.
Yes. So now, when we're
You're
mourning,
wormtailing it.
yeah, when we're mourning
Or worm tongue.
this poor young man's death of his mother and father just 6 years later,
Become regent.
I am now regent to the crown and will rule him like a puppet.
Okay.
And should he step out of line, well, guess what?
Gonna take him into the woods.
We're going to go for a long walk with a trebuchet.
The trebuchet. Okay.
That's
all right.
pretty good.
All right.
Yeah.
You rose to the occasion.
I honestly think that's doable, too. I don't think it's beyond reason that if I save the king's life and I give him tons of money and have wonderful advice with knowledge from the future of what's going to happen,
Sure.
that I can't say, yeah, you know what? Screw the Scots. Never mind that I am one. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait till he has a son and then...
So creativity. That is a fairly creative plan.
I'm gonna give him a 2.5.
I agree. I think a 2.5 is a fair because you have like weaseled your way in a time of need, and then you've gone from there. Sneakiness, that is very sneaky.
Yeah.
You're biding your time.
Yes.
I'm gonna give him another 2.5.
I think we should give him a 3.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that's quite sneaky.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so he's 3. Execution? Yes.
Yes.
I don't think it's hard. I don't think it's insanely difficult.
I think that
He had 2 practice kings, but I think he really came through on the third.
Another 3,
king.
I think.
Yeah.
Another 3. So
Yeah.
you right now, and I believe that you did kill him. So you right now are at a 8.5.
Yeah.
Do we give him a style point? I don't think it was very stylish.
No. It was effective,
Yeah.
but it wasn't.
I don't think you get a style point, but I do think I think this is where the scale is failing us because you have killed him, and the 8.5 puts you in between him becoming a bad king and vilified. I do not think you could vilify him if you are his trusted advisor after the fact.
No, I don't think I could vilify him.
But I think you could make an argument.
But
that
I
he's a bad
definitely
king.
am usurping him.
Yes.
And as far as style points, you guys only say that because you haven't seen the robes of the regents to the crown. It's going to be like Prince's wet dream. Just purple robes all the way to the ground. Amazing hair.
Well, I think we're forced to. I think that you haven't created a new. I think that you would probably martyr your friend, but if depending on what happens, you might go down as like the royal like physicianal king or something like that.
And honestly, I don't want to vilify the guy I'm killing and whose son I'm helping rule. I want him to have a good reputation, just like I want the son to have a good reputation. But I'm the one pulling the strings behind the scenes.
So what you have done is essentially created a new scale, which is the invisibility scale, where nothing has happened seemingly under the surface there are lots of movement.
Things in play.
Yes. So you scored very well. You
Good job,
scored.
Dafs.
Did you give him a style point?
No.
No. So you got an 8.5. To recap, you did kill Edward the First. You get a score of 8.5, your best score. Henry the Eighth, you scored a 5.5, your worst score, and he lived. Just went down as a scandal for his reign, while you were throwing money and trebuchets over the walls, which I would like to see. Edgar the Peaceable, you did kill, but you only scored a 6. However, you did make him a laughingstock, which I think is fair.
That was good.
So well done, Dafs. Your best score is 8.5. We'll see if you can top it later this season when you go against some other rulers of some sort.
I think it's doable.
Yeah, I do too. And thank you to Stacy for coming on and judging Dafs.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Anytime I can judge Dafs in public, that's a good time for me. All right. Well, for the Rick and Dafs podcast, I'm Rick.
I'm Dafs.
And I'm Stacy.
Have a good one.